As we should. And this is Elevensies, so we should be live. I see us. Look, there you go. It exists. It all works. Well, it seems to be working vaguely.
Well, it's thinking about it over here.
Well, it's thought about it and we're there. So
Facebook lags a little more usually.
Yes, we lag. We lag a lot. Has to be said. There's a bit of lag. There you go. So life is good. So good morning and welcome indeed to Elevensies, the late morning show with Lisa and Anton. I'm Anton.
And I'm Lisa.
And I quickly need to edit this. Just give me 2 seconds.
All right. So if anybody possibly missed it, I don't know that our viewers would miss this, but if anybody has possibly missed it, today is the full moon in Taurus. And early this morning there was a lunar eclipse.
Yeah, partial, but almost.
Yeah, but almost.
Total.
And it was a very long affair. I'm going to call it an affair.
A duration event. Yes. A long duration event.
And I don't know, a lot of times sensitive people do kind of feel the energy of the full moon. That's where we get like the lunacy. And
there's lunacy broken out this morning, that's for sure.
But there have certainly been very stress and aggressive enery this week. It's just been a very pickety,
snickety.
Yeah, been a very difficult week. For me, anyway, I've felt the
you felt the disturbance in the force.
Yes, and I think that the Taurus full moon, for me, really kind of solidifies winter, right?
Well, just for us.
So whether it's the full moon right before Calengaeaf, or like this now, the full moon after Calengaeaf. Taurus full moon could be, we're a little late with the full moons this year. And the new moons are at the beginning of the month. But this one the Taurus full moon is called the mourning moon.
Oh, yeah.
To mourn the fallen, to mourn the loved ones who have crossed over, be they human spirit, animal spirit, or even the spirit of
all the growth,
plant familiars, all the things that grow.
The picture's a bit blurry. You may need to rub your eyes there.
So, good morning, Gilda, Wendy, Valerie, and Pam.
Yes.
Let's see if there's anybody over here.
Our picture's looking all right to us.
Hello, Sue.
So there you go.
So today, on the Taurus full moon, in our tradition, we do something called waking the Mari. Now, this was introduced to us, I believe, in 2015.
By a certain Welshman.
By Christopher Hughes.
Yes, a Welshman of note.
And he had come near Yule, so certainly that was appropriate in the winter to talk to us about this phenomenon. And it's connected by horses to Rhiannon.
Yes.
But we thought we'd talk a little bit about the Mari today.
We did, yeah. Now, some say this is either the oldest new tradition in Wales or the newest old tradition in Wales, because it's certainly been, what's the word, revived, revitalised,
the old gods
rejuvenated. Yeah, it almost died out completely. But some, as is the way, some parson of note, whose name escapes me at the moment. So, Christopher, if you're watching, forgive me. I must brush up on my Mari Llwyd history here. Actually had the presence of mind to write down all of the customs, including the punkers and all that sort of stuff in this book, to say, this is the devil's work and thou shalt avoid it at all costs. And only because of that has it survived to this day. It's wonderful. So we have a full and complete record of how this was done way back. Way back.
So it is a folk tradition.
Yes. What's it? What happens then?
Well, the basic idea of it is that winter is coming, and it is the lean time.
Yes.
And this spirit asks you, if you are prepared, are you going to survive the winter? And if you're not prepared, then you're going to suffer. So I've posted a link on Facebook to another Chris Hughes of no relation.
No relation.
Right?
No relation.
So this is Christopher Hughes, the Druid of Anglesey, Wales, introduced us to this tradition and sang the Song of the Mari at our Yule celebration back in, I think, 2015.
It was barely a dry eye.
And there's another Chris Hughes, who I've posted the link to her information regarding the Mari. Now, that's a woman who lives out west, who's from Scotland originally. So
she's originally a sweaty sock, but she's now on the west coast in the US.
So I'm just going to read a little bit and then pause and we'll talk about things. But it says, it seems likely that both in early Britain and the wider Celtic world, a great horse cult reigned for several millennia.
True that.
While we cannot prove a direct relationship between the worship of Epona in Gaul and the great Uffington chalk horse and folk traditions such as the hobby horse and the Mari Llwyd, intuition suggests that there might be some sort of connection.
Oh, no connection. Nothing to see here. Not connected in any way.
In parts of South Wales, the Mari Llwyd, grey mare, is still carried from house to house between Christmas and the 12th night. She is a beribboned mare's skull and will only be let into the house if the company carrying her can outwit with riddles in a contest the people who are challenging at the door. The legend behind the custom is that the Mari was cast out of Bethlehem's stable into a cold night to make room for a more prestigious Mary to give birth to a more prestigious child. Now, we know we've had talks about full moon, the moon, Mari, the ocean, all these things that have to do with the womb and the mother. So it's interesting. But ever since she was cast out, she has roamed the world searching for a place to give birth to her cult. So she's decorated with ribbons, and she kind of looks like a Beltane.
It's interesting.
She reflects Beltane, right?
It's a reflection across the wheel, because here's this skeletal horse's head. It's actual skeleton of a horse's head, bedecked with a beautiful bridal veil and beautiful bridal ribbons.
What did you call it?
Bridal.
A bridal?
Oh, and think about breed for a minute, and the three phases there, and the final phase of breed as the crone.
Yeah. But bridal, I wonder why they call it a bridal. Anyway, so yes, typically she would have ribbons with little jingle bells, and it would look much like you would expect to see the ribbons of the maypole. So we again have this reflection across the wheel of Callan Mai and Callan Gaff.
She has ribbons in her hair.
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful young girl. She's bedecked with ribbons in her hair. It's quite beautiful, you know,
Yeah.
getting married. But this is the giving way of summer to the winter at this point. And the idea of the whole Mari Llwyd is that it's very similar to wassailing, if you will, that's been sort of brought forwards.
Yeah.
And you know, wassailing is where I don't know if you guys know, but it's an old English tradition that goes back a long time ago. But the idea was that they would go out, they would carry this wassail bowl with them, and they would offer a blessing, you know, from house to house, a blessing on you, a blessing on your crops. And this is the precursor to carol singing, which is a tradition that's carried on to this day.
Again, all these things are about fertility and endurance, ensuring that
survival through the winter. Exactly that. So a blessing that you will be blessed to survive the winter.
So the caroling was not just about fertility for the people who were going door to door. They were also checking on their neighbors.
Yeah, there's that.
Right?
There's that practical aspect. Yes. Yeah. Are you still actually breathing? Is there a fire in your chimney? You know. And the other thing is that they would actually go out. They would tie like bits of toast and bread to the trees, and they would beat the trees with sticks just to raise the sap, to let them know that they're still alive. You know, like knocking on, like, and it's the same tradition. They do it on the Pope's head when he passes away 3 times. They bang him on the head. in the same way. It's really weird that all this.
Weird. I don't know anything.
Oh,
about
but they
that.
do. But they do. If any of you that would know that. But it's the same way. He's not really dead. Is he in there? Is he in there? Is the life spirit still within there?
Yet.
He's getting better. So the idea is we have to survive the winter, and the Mari's is very much this tradition where she presents herself as a skeletal horse, and Lisa will tell you much more about this. But there's this challenge goes on. And typically, she'll appear at a pub because that's a good place where people like to
gather.
Yeah. And there's a knock on the door, and then begins a bardic exchange, as is the way, where punka are sung, and these are verses, and it's like rhythmic interplay, and they try to outwit one another.
Well,
eventually,
it's very complex. It has to be timed out, and it rhymes, and then your answer has to be timed in the same way and rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And eventually the Mari will win, because she does, and then she gains entry into there, and she'll run amok inside. And there's much merriment and laughing and jolliness and all that sort of stuff. And she'll be like nibbling at people's genitalia and all that sort of stuff. Literally, because this is like, you're just not prepared. Where's your fertility kind of thing? How do you intend to? Where are your fertile seeds? What have you done? What have you done to prepare for winter? Are you ready? And it's amazing, and it's beautiful, and it's really nice to see this old custom that nearly died out completely really catching hold.
Oh,
and now
in
the
last 5 years, more Maris have been made and used, and
there's even they teach it to kids now in primary school in
Wales.
Yes, in Wales, and they actually have these like cardboard Mari heads that they make and all that, and it's really lovely to see these old traditions because there's so much in it. There's so much Emmett, isn't there?
Okay, so I'm just going to read you a few of the lyrics from the song. It says, "Old bone-face the deathless am I, heavy with full 2,000 years, bridled with sorrow, saddled with fear. I canter through pasture of tremble and quake. I gallop the track between sleep and awake, seeking the deep welcome and stint for my tears." So if anybody is familiar with Rhiannon, you know that her birds sing across the deep. So that's an interesting quote.
And you would also know that Rhiannon herself became the calumniated goddess and had to act as beast of burden as part of her punishment, which wasn't just or right.
And you know the Uffington horse, there's that and there's a horse in the north somewhere too, I believe.
There's a number of chalk horses inscribed in the hills around Britain. Horses are really important, I mean, they got you places. They really did.
Yeah, communication. Horses was her prime. Oh,
now we have
dear.
It's just, you don't understand, Mum. It's all about him.
I'm just waiting for the next verse to come up. So I don't want to screw up. Okay. The mare-headed queen, the Mari Llwyd, I was mother of all of the herds. 10,000 years my shining foal, bridled with starlight, saddled with gold. I leapt the divide between living and dead, quickened the year with a toss of my head, galloped the deep of beauty, and never grew old. Until Christianity came along and threw her out.
This is a beautiful song by what's his name?
I couldn't tell you.
Chris Woods, I want to say his name is. I've just pulled that out of thin air. I believe his name is Chris Woods, and we'll try and find the.
I've sent the link, and I'm sure.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. Yeah.
All right, but Mother of God, the Mary mild, the pregnant maiden came, bursting with Jehovah's seed. She entered my stable and cried out her need. With ropes I was dragged from the birthing straw. Aching with foal, I was heaved to the door, swapping warmth for bitter weather, and the birth of a rival creed. And the song is very haunting if you listen to the way it's sung.
Oh, it's beautiful. It is beautiful. I promise you won't have a a dry eye by the time we get there. Lisa will put the link up, and I'll see if I can
have
find
put it up.
Okay.
And now I'm nightmare, the rattling womb, the Uffington wraith I've become. Forced into darkness, you've made me a friend. Bridled with shadow, saddled with scream. From window to window, traversing the night, my face in your glass in a shudder of light. Seeking that deep of welcome, befitting a queen.
Well,
interesting stuff.
Interesting. Text me and I'll pop it up here. I'll pop the link up because.
So it really is quite an amazing piece of work that was done in honor of the Mari. Chris Wood, music performance by Chris Wood.
Yep. There you go. See, I'm not hopeless.
No,
totally.
you're
Not totally.
So our full moon ritual, our circle tonight, is all about waking the Mari. So you people who are watching, who may be on our Craft of the Wise course, if you want a virtual seat, because we're only Zooming, I would encourage you to attend the circle tonight to learn more.
Oh, yes. This is one of the most beautiful things that we do. It's strangely haunting, and it does remind us. I mean, this is the thing. On this path, you're cognizant of the fact that, there's no visceral isolation into, he's gone to a better place. People die, things die, winter comes.
All
people
that die shall be reborn.
But that tells us there is the promise of life in death. And so we have to be mindful of our place in the world, and we have to be mindful of our actions, and we have to be mindful that we have a responsible to ourselves and to those for whom we are responsible. And the Mari challenges our responsibility without doubt. That's the whole concept of this. Yes, it's a great, raucous, wonderful, fun custom that brings a lot of winter cheer. But it has a serious tone to it. And it's amazing. I mean, we want to do it in New Paltz, and when we finally get to the side of pandemic, I'm thinking that we probably will, because it's a nice accepting town, and I can just see our lot going out doing wassailing with the Mari. Definitely, absolutely, I can see it. There's enough pubs. Believe me, there's enough pubs.
Well, you have to put somebody inside the pub who understands what the hell is going on, and they're going to wonder why there are people outside with a horse's skull.
We're going to have to translate it for the New World, and probably translate the punka into English, and maybe have to use a bit of artistic license to make them rhyme, and a little bit of what would be fun in English is to do like a tongue twister, because whilst this is the thing, I love to listen to other cultures' music and stuff, and I have to accept some stuff I just don't understand, like Chinese music, for example. And why so many ends?
Scale is different.
The pentatonic scale and all that sort of stuff is different, but I do my best to try and listen to it and understand it, and I celebrate that. So what would be fun? Because you notice in a lot of traditional Welsh poetry or bardic stuff, they're very difficult to enunciate. Yeah, it is a tongue twister.
Welsh is a tongue twister language, but there's definitely a timing.
But it's all about timing, meter, rhythm, that kind of stuff, and play of rhyme. Meter, rhyme, rhythm, all that fun stuff. So,
and that's the problem too when you translate it to English.
You lose that.
You lose the rhyme.
What you have to do is take the spirit of it and put that into English. Yeah. So, she sells seashells on the seashore is a perfect example. Yeah, that's really hard for somebody in English to enunciate. So this would be the sort of thing that you would be doing in an English version of the Mari Llwyd punka. But I would love to do that. I think that could be a fun project to do, and it would be great. And it's a great fundraiser for Celtica as well to go out. Instead of having the wassail bowl, by the way, they would collect anything they could in there, and that
must have been quite a drink by the end of the night.
Usually spirits are best because they kill the germs.
Slobber, yes.
Kill the germs. Beer's a bit odd, but we'll take anything.
Not a germphobics gig.
Oh, you just put some Everclear in there; it'll kill it all. That's fine. But honestly, these are the things, and this is where you get true spirit of community as well. Unfortunately, and if you'll permit me, oh yes, Emmett, if you'll permit me getting on my soapbox for a second, but this is Fantastic Friday where we talk about anything and everything and all that fun stuff. Merry Cashmas, that's what it's become. If you think about it, people hate this time of year now because they realise they're going to have to spend money they haven't got to buy things they can't afford for people they don't like and they don't want them anyway. But Merry Cashmas, you know, yeah.
It's an interesting time.
Isn't it?
And I think that's part of the stress and pressure that you feel this time of year too.
Morning, Sparky.
People trying to deal with, well, especially now, they're dealing with family.
Oh.
They're dealing with finances. They're dealing with pandemic. They're, it is a very difficult time of year for a lot of people. So to be able to celebrate an old custom and feel your connection to the old gods is very much a blessing for me.
We are stupidly privileged. You know, we don't get caught up in that. We go back to basic simplicity. And that basic simplicity of mutual support, fellowship, care, respect for all living things, honouring and celebrating the cycle of life and the seasons, you know. These simple things, try it. It's kind of cool, you know. People, I love it when people come up to me, you know, and they're like this book banging, bloody Bible bashing, crazy, extreme right wing Christian.
Not any of that in quite some time.
Yeah, but you know, how do you possibly think that paganism is relevant in a modern society? Hold on a minute. Have you heard yourself lately? Have you? We honour the cycle of things. We teach respect for all living things and responsibility for your own actions. Whereas you're going to go and carpet bomb somewhere in the name of God and ask for apologies, you know, or apologise next day. How relevant is that, my friend? You know, I'm sorry. You know?
I don't know. I think you've gone way off track now.
But this is what the Mari's about. This is what the Mari's about.
Carpet bombing?
No. What have you done to ensure your survival next year is what the Mari is about.
Yes. How are you in sync with what's happening?
And nuking and killing half the people in the world is not ensuring your survival. You know, making enemies faster than we can kill them is not good foreign policy. No. But yes, love and care and warmth.
Well, that's what the season was supposed to be about. Community,
a season of goodwill.
Community and yeah.
Yes, the season of goodwill. But it's crazy though, isn't it? I mean, this is one of the things that we do, and we just did actually this last week in Gone. We got to the cycle of the Wheel of the Year in the Craft of the Wise class, and we said there's such an irony. There's such an irony that we have become now, that we spend our summers goofing off and, you know, we're at the beach sipping margaritas or whatever, when that's where we should be working to prepare to lay our, you know, all of our stuff for next year. Whereas in the time of retreat and, you know, where the rations were meager and all that sort of stuff and there wasn't light. And
you didn't just bugger off to the Bahamas.
Yeah, or you know, live it up large. You know, let's drink ourselves into a stupor.
Well, you had Saturnalia and stuff, but that was
the Lord of Misrule and that
was
fun
kind
stuff.
of the last hurrah of the harvest, really. But
kind of.
Anyway,
but I love these traditions, and you know, I think they should be maintained. Oh, you got the Three of Swords, I see.
All right.
Don't run anybody through today.
Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. So much like yesterday's reading, I'm going to say to you, there may be a bit of test and adjust. So things may not go exactly as you planned today. No sense becoming all emotional and outraged by that. Try to stay calm. Try to look over the situation. Try to maintain your poise, and things will come right in the end. This is one of the only cards that has no people.
Yep, no, and it has 3 swords, but 3 is not a bad number when you think about it.
No,
3 is a good number. In this instance, this 3 is
mind, body, spirit is being disrupted here.
There is an emotional upheaval here, without doubt. The very fact that the heart is run through. Sometimes you feel betrayed. Sometimes you feel like, well, that's cut me to the core. The core, heart, yes.
Cortisol.
Yeah.
I think, but today really is about, did this really happen, or is it that you perceive it to be happening?
Well, full moons, we always got that edge for lunacy. We say things we don't mean to say. We throw a rock, and it would have been better not to throw the rock, but you can't unthrow the rock. So just be mindful that that love is the one force that can overcome everything. So be mindful if you're being hurtful in the face of love. That I would suggest, because anger only begats more anger. You'll never fix night with night. It's only the rising sun that illuminates the daylight. And Emmett is just so demanding today. He's just ridiculously demanding.
But he won't let me pick him up. He does not want to be on the screen.
He's a turd of the first order. He totally is. But this is, there's lessons. And so long as we learn from our lessons, and sometimes you need to be the one with the elastoplast, you need to be the one
with
an
elastoplast?
It's like a Band-Aid. It's just other adhesive bandages are available.
Okay.
So yes, you need to be the one that fixes the boo-boo, not causes it.
Or doesn't make the boo-boo bigger, at least.
Yeah, and there's always that possibility of making boo-boos worse today. And I thought the eclipse is supposed to bring what is in the shadow to the light. No, eclipses kind of shadow things and can remove things. They can remove things from your life, and lunar eclipses tend to be perhaps removing a female from your life.
Well, lunar eclipses are attached to the feminine aspect of things, women, emotions, things like that. So they may bring something to light by taking away that thing that's been hiding the light. But it's quite a process, yeah. And good morning, Lori. She says she loves the new format.
Well, thank you. Yeah, just watch that you don't eclipse the thing that you are actually trying to bring about by allowing your emotional hurt to get in the way, I think would be the reading for today that I would give. That you may be emotionally vulnerable or especially emotionally sensitive. And the moon is playing with our emotions. Understand the moon covers our emotions. That's what we talked about on Magical Moon Day. This
been quite a week.
It's been a week this week, hasn't it?
It has.
So we talked about that, and yes, it does. It really does govern your emotions. So Taurus is that sheer persistent. I said I'll damn well do it, so I'll damn well do it. And this may be you almost having to resent having to do what you said you were going to do, even though you initially wanted to come at it from a place of love. You now find yourself in a place of resentment. So just be careful, because that's how you're reacting, and is reacting rather than responding. You are reacting to how you are emotionally processing this. So that, you may be the one running yourself through by doing that.
Right. It's all about perception, I think.
It is. Perception is key.
Because even though the moon has been hidden, it's still there.
Mm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and he did come back. And, it's eclipses pass. But can you imagine what our earliest ancestors would have thought when they looked up and they saw, that must mean something.
Definitely signs and symbols in the heavens.
That must mean something.
All right, guys.
And it does. It does. Well, listen, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate your energies and your thoughts and your kindness today. We will try and be thoughtful and kind today.
So definitely over the weekend, work to respond and not react to the crazy energy.
Don't let your emotions get the better of you. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Coming up from place of love.
We may or may not see you with a box opening. I fear there may be some tarot coming.
There is, but I will tell you next week. She's gone bonkers. And even last night she was doing another huge order to yet another supplier.
No, it wasn't huge.
What are you talking about? I think we're going to be over 2,000 decks eventually.
Eventually, yep.
Something like that. 2,000 different tarot decks in stock.
I don't know, but I might have to hang them off the ceiling and see what happens.
She's gone barking, I'm telling you. She's gone barking. All right, thank you so much. Do check out that video that we posted. Beautiful. It's done by Chris Hughes, but it's Chris Woods who does the song, and it's beautiful.
It's very
beautiful.
haunting, but
haunting.
if you listen really carefully, it will move you. Definitely.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you. All right, have an amazingly
weekend.
wonderful day, and we'll see you